I'm talking about producing interdisciplinary competent professionals. And since I didn't talk to Stan before, I probably would have changed that interdisciplinary to something else. And about developing OSEA's One Health module development process. So maybe what we're talking about today is two key things in relation to One Health. We want to be able to transition the current workforce. Those are the people who are already in the field, in the government offices, the veterinarians, the medical doctors, the social scientists working out there. We want to be able to provide them with some skills. And we want to look at the future workforce. These are the little kids that we have who haven't gone to school yet, or who are already going to school, but who have a vision of becoming what Professor Kabasa calls One Health foot soldiers. We want them to come out through their life to become competent One Health practitioners. And of course, our students who are still in college, this is a One Health field practicum, field demonstration site where we have students from multiple disciplines working at community level. At the same time, we want to produce professionals who can understand the communities that we work with and be able to transform those communities. So the big question that we ask when we talk about our vision 2035 is what kind of skills are needed to combat the next Ebola-like outbreak? If we woke up today in 2035, like Dean Kochiva said, who would we want out there working if there's an outbreak? What kind of skills would we provide for them? And working with OSEA, the One Health Center in Eastern Africa, we address this question very seriously. We work with 14 institutions of veterinary and schools of public health, and we thought about it and thought, what skills can we provide to everyone who is coming through these 14 institutions? 100,000 students approximately graduate from these institutions every year. And so looking at that, we want them going out there and being competent enough to be able to address any emerging outbreak. If there's an Ebola outbreak in Ethiopia, we want, whether it's an economist, or whether it's a veterinary doctor, or whether it's a medical doctor, we want them to have certain skills to be able to contribute to either controlling that or responding to that infection. And so with that understanding that it has to be multi-sectorial, we have to work together as different teams. We began to develop what we're calling One Health core competencies. And these were developed in EPT1 in the first phase of Emerging Pandemic Threat Program. And I think you've seen this slide before. They were developed across the global section. Siahun developed some, and OSEA also sat down and developed what it's called its core competencies. And I'm glad, I always mention this, I'm glad to mention that OSEA is the only one that came up with gender as a key competency for One Health. And Ethiopia is actually really moving with that, because they're right now moving along with the gender equity. They have one representative who's female from Ethiopia for this meeting. So besides just coming up with core competencies, what do you do with them? You can say, we have these competencies, but what are you going to do with those competencies? What and how? So those are the two key issues that we address. We can have nice competencies written out. We have the soft skills that we developed, management, communication, leadership, behavior change, systems thinking. And then thinking about it, we thought we also need some key, if you're thinking about someone who is going to be able to respond to an outbreak, be they a social scientist or an economist, they really need a little information about Ebola. Basically, they don't have to be an Ebola specialist, they don't have to be an infectious disease specialist, but at least they need a little background on that. And so we identified what we call technical competencies, some key technical skills that we would be able to provide them. For example, skills in outbreak, investigation and response, basic skills in One Health, what's One Health, and risk analysis. How do you identify the risk before it even becomes an outbreak? And so we came up with what we call technical skills and soft skills. And the next stage was to take these skills or competencies and develop them into courses. What we were thinking is, if we take these skills, we work across 14 institutions, schools of veterinary medicine and schools of public health. And all these people teach about 1 million students a year. If we are able to take some of these things and integrate them into the coursework that's already going on at the different universities, then students will qualify at the end of it with some knowledge of One Health, some knowledge of outbreak investigation, maybe some knowledge of emerging infectious disease. And we are actually targeting emerging graduates. Like I said, we have 100,000 students graduating. For Makerere alone, we have medical doctors, we have vets, we have economists. Supposing we say all graduating students are going to be exposed to an emerging disease preparedness training. That means everyone who graduates will have some knowledge and information on that, and when something happens, they can be able to respond to that. And so based on that, Siohun has developed these modules that they have in relation to this, but we took those modules and we are adapting them to Africa because Siohun is in Asia and we want something that's very African and relates to what's happening here. Ebola, we have Rift Valley, maybe cultural and gender issues, and then taking them and integrating appropriate teaching methodologies into that. And so not just looking at skills and competencies, but delivery. How do you deliver those skills and competencies to adult learners in an interactive way? And so including their case studies, including in videos, YouTube, because the generation of today is different. You can't just stand in front of a classroom and lecture for the next 3 hours. They fall asleep within 10 minutes. And so you have to be able to engage them in an interactive way. And so looking at innovative and interacting teaching methodologies. So the process is we identified what we call subject matter specialists from OSEA institutions. We had about 38 people coming together, 38 team members who are specialists in these areas. We had a 1 week-long One Health module design workshop in which we said who is our target audience, and our target audience includes all graduating students as well as people working in the ministries out there who are already in the workforce. Maybe we are going to scale down to even high school students, primary school students. How do we educate them on One Health so that they grow up with that mindset? And we developed goals, we developed objectives, we did course maps and instructional design activities. And then the next step was to develop content. So they're out there right now, we are receiving the content back. They're developing content on these 17 modules that we identify as key One Health skills and competencies. We are reviewing those modules as we speak. As they keep coming in, we are working on reviewing them and finalizing those modules. And we are going to adopt them for use in classrooms, for curriculum review, as well as for online. So we want even people who are not part of OSEA, but are interested in One Health to have access to these modules. And so the result, and this is faculty from Moore University actually mapping their curriculum and integrating One Health into it. The result is that we have a framework for One Health curriculum developed that encompasses One Health modules. We are combining human, animal health, infectious disease with principles of ecology and environmental science to provide an understanding of One Health concepts applications. And these modules will be used, as I said, both at pre-service and in-service at training. And what's our vision? Our vision is that our One Health professional in 2035 is well-trained, equipped and mandated appropriately in whatever capacity they are to be able to respond to an emerging pandemic. And as we do this, we feel that we want to spread this across to other institutions that are not part of OSEA, but who are engaged in One Health. And so these modules will be accessible to them as well. I would like to acknowledge OSEA partners. I couldn't list all the 38 team members who are the subject matter experts. The team from the OSEA Secretariat, TABS faculty, and University of Minnesota faculty who are key implementers of these, and USAID. Thank you.